This is the iPhone 6, a phone from history that the world will never ever forget. It sold 380 million units worldwide just because of its unique feature to fold and never come back to its original position. So let's see how it holds up in 2019. Speaking of its design though, it doesn't have anything on the top. It has a headphone jack, a lightning port, and a single firing speaker at the bottom, power button and a SIM slot on the right. It has volume buttons and an alert slider on the left. And on the back, it has that ultra high grade aluminum which makes it a foldable phone. And in the center, it has Apple logo, FCC certification and stuff. And on the top, it has that 8 megapixel camera with dual LED flash. On the front, it has home button with touch ID. And on the top, it has a 1.2 megapixel front camera with earpiece. The iPhone 6 has an Apple A8 processor with Motion M8 coprocessor coupled with 1 GB of RAM. Look, I do know that Apple products don't require much RAM like Android does, but 1 GB? Seriously? In 2019? I like the way Apple gave a number of storage options on the iPhone 6. There is 16 GB, 32, 64 and 128. But I generally don't recommend 16 GB to anyone. The battery life on the iPhone 6 isn't great. I mean, it isn't even usable. It's 1810 mAh battery degraded badly over the years. I mean, mine degraded to 79%. Speaking of the software on the iPhone 6, it runs on iOS 12.2. This is the latest operating system for the iPhone 6 while making this video. On iOS 12, the iPhone 6 is much better than what it was on iOS 11, but it still has its own set of problems. For example, the iPhone 6 shuts down unexpectedly without any reason on the iOS 12 as well. But since it happens only once in a month, you don't need to worry at all. Hell, with iOS 11, it used to happen every single day. Multimedia experience on the iPhone 6 is just average. I mean, its display is average, its speakers are average, so yeah, it's usable, but it's not the best in the world. It just has a single speaker and a 720p display with 326 ppi, which is the same as the iPhone XR. Okay guys, welcome to the practical gaming test of the iPhone 6 where we are going to open up Real Racing 3 and check how much time the iPhone 6 takes to load the game. Well, I don't want to waste your time, so I'm going to increase the speed of the video by 3 times. Well, as you all saw, the iPhone 6 did take a lot of time to load the game. But while playing the game, I did not notice any single lag or frame drop. And the case is the same for all the games that I played on this phone. And a fun fact, I edited this whole video on an iPhone 6 itself. The 1.2 megapixel front camera of the iPhone 6 is an absolute potato. But the case isn't so with the rear camera. It may not be comparable to recent flagships, but it's definitely better than most of the mid-ranges of 2019. After the conclusion part of the video, I'll show you certain camera samples taken by the iPhone 6's rear and front cameras so that you can judge by yourself. So now since I have told you everything about the phone, it all depends on you whether to buy the phone or not. But here are my opinions. There are many other Android alternatives at this price point which do offer better value for money. The Galaxy S7 from 2016 and the latest Realme 3 Pro are two good examples. But if you're someone who already has a better Android phone as a primary device and want this as a secondary device just for using iMessage and FaceTime, then this phone seems like a practical option for you. Otherwise, I don't see any reason in buying this phone in 2019. And one more thing. If you are someone who is buying the iPhone 6 just for the flashy Apple logo on the back, let me tell you that the apple gets rotten 4 years after being plucked.